Hello. Can you hear me? Hi,
Hi.
Nicole. Mario, can you hear me? Hi, Maya. Hi, Angel. All right, we're going to wait a few minutes till more people join us. I just want to cover and make sure if you haven't taken your exam, make sure you take it. That's the first thing that you should have.
I have
Yes.
something to tell. In the exam, I think there was an error of the system because
Remember, I check it at the end, not the not Moodle. So that you already know that. All right, so that's the first thing. If you have done that, great. The next part, I'm going to mute everybody's microphone. That way everybody can hear me. If you have something to talk, you can raise your hand. Uh, not yet. Just wait when I say if you have a question. Let me just explain what we're going to do. So today we are going to cover what was due last week. And we're doing this so you understand what you are responsible for. So this past week, we were supposed to work on area and perimeter. At the end of this session, if we have enough time, I'm going to cover what's for this week. So I'm going to share my screen. You're going to be able to see the e-bulletin right here. All right, so this is the e-bulletin your parents should have got either through email, IQ Pro, WhatsApp. I'm not sure. Any of those things, your parents should have got something like this. So for the math part, right here, the first part, it says that you need to take notes from slides of area and perimeter in Moodle. So if you have your notebook at home, great. Take your notes on there. If you left your notebook at school and you can't go to school to pick it up, that's okay, right? We find a piece of paper, we take our notes, and then later when we're able to return to school, you're able to paste that stuff back in your notebook. So make sure you keep track of that stuff if you don't have your notebook with you. So again, we already know how to find in Moodle. Oh, one last thing. This session is being recorded. So if you, I don't know, if you want to look back at this video, you can look at it. I'll be sending it through YouTube. And IQ Pro, you'll also get it through an email, all those forms. So if you want to go back and look at this, you're able to do that. I would tell you if you have questions, I'll give you time to talk, but just wait so I can cover what we need to cover. You can write down your questions if you like, or just keep them in mind. Okay, so we all know where to go to Moodle, and we all know that it's at the very bottom. We go to a fourth marking period. We are in the last marking period. So right here, you're going to find week 1 area and perimeter notes. That's the one you should click on. On down here, you'll find area perimeter worksheet. And then on this one is for week 2, the metric system, which is for this week. So this is where you'll find stuff for last week and for this week. So if we open our area and perimeter, this is what you'll see. These are the notes that you should be taking. Area and perimeter, here we're supposed to, our objective is to measure and understand the relationship of area and perimeter, recognize and apply the new knowledge in real life applications. So we're looking at perimeter and area. These are the two things we are looking at. A perimeter, to explain perimeter, perimeter is the distance around the edge of a shape. So remember, the edge of a shape, it's everything that's around the shape. So let's think about our bedroom. We're all in a room. If you think about measuring the perimeter of that room, you're measuring the walls. So that's the outside, is you are measuring the walls. So measuring the walls, you are looking at the perimeter. Now, if we look at the area is the space in the inside of your room. If we're talking about a carpet, or we're talking about the floor, how many tile or how much floor do you have in that room? That is the area, the inside of that. All right. The next part that we'll see right here is explaining perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. You can think about it as a gate. If you're at a farm and you put a gate around, that's like the perimeter of something. So if we look at the first shape, the rectangle here, that is blue. Dice que it's 8 units at the top and 5 units at the bottom. So to figure out the perimeter, we have to add all the sides. On here, it just gives us 2 sides, but tenemos que asumir that one side is 8 units and the other side is also 8 units, and then 5 units and the other side's also 5 units. So you need to add all of them up, 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5. Or what you can also do is what's explained on here. 2 times by adding the 2 sides. So for example, we add 8 plus 5 and then we multiply it by 2. You can do that, or if it's easier just to add up all the sides, you can do that as well. The pink shape, the one that's on the right side, that one, it's a shape that has 2 shapes put together. So let's say your room can maybe look like this. Your room is maybe not a box or not a square or not a perfect rectangle. So you might have something like this. So we're trying to measure the distance. We just have to add all the sides. So you're summing all the sides. 3 plus 4 plus the 1 plus the 2 plus the 4 and plus the 6. So that is perimeter. Todo alrededor de una habitación, like measuring the walls. This next part right here is the area. Again, I said the area is what's in the inside of a room, a carpet, el piso, whatever you want to think about it. So in this area here, we're mainly multiplying. So we need to multiply one wall times the other wall. So let's say this yellow rectangle right here, let's say it's your room. One wall is going to measure 4 units and the other wall is going to measure 3 units. That means we need to multiply. Or if it shows you these little squares right here, the little squares that you see here, you can count each square and it's going to give you the total amount of units. Squares. So in this one, if we count all the little yellow squares, there is 12. So my area would be 12. So si te dan unos little squares like that, you can count it. If they don't give it to you and they just give you a normal shape without the squares, then you just multiply. In the second one, the one that's in red, le que está en el rojo, that one, it has 2 shapes, 2 different shapes. You have to find the area of each one in order to add it together. So the first one, we look at the rectangle, the one that's on top. We have one is 6, the other side is 3. So it's 6 times 3 would give us 18. And then we have the square that's at the bottom. That one's 3 times 3, which is 9. One side is 3, the other side is 3. We multiplied it to get 9. So now you're going to add both of them up. We have 18 plus 9 gives us 27 square units. Or you can count all the little squares to figure out the total. The ones that are late, this is being recorded, and if you missed the first part of the session, you'll be able to see it. I will be sending this and you'll see it on YouTube. You'll be getting it through IQ Pro and also through an email. Okay, so this next part, this right here is telling you when we find perimeter and area, you might look at fractions. You might look at decimals. You might look at different units like centimeters, meters, kilometers, or millimeters, and you might see different shapes. So in the first one, we see a regular square, we see decimals, and we see m. This is meters, so it's measuring in meters. The second one right here, the second one, we are seeing fractions. So we see numbers and fractions, whole numbers and fractions, and we're seeing it in centimeters. This one right here, we are seeing it a different shape. It's a funky shape, and we're seeing centimeters, and we're seeing millimeters, and we're seeing decimals. So this is just explaining that you can see perimeter and area. You can find fractions, decimals, different shapes, different units. So you just need to be careful on the different units to make sure to put that. If we have meters, your answer shouldn't be in centimeters or shouldn't be in inches. It should be in meters. So that's all that it's saying here. This one right here, it's just reviewing adding decimals. So we're finding the perimeter of a shape. Tenemos que sumar si son decimales. So we must add all the decimals. This is just a review. We've covered this already, right? So reviewing the decimals is that you need to make sure you line up the decimal points. That way you add it correctly. So that's a review on adding decimals. If you're finding the area of a shape and you're multiplying decimals, remember, ignore the decimal, and at the end, you put the decimal place depending on how many decimal places there are. So you should be taking all these notes on a piece of paper or on your notebook. Right here is fractions. So if you see fractions and you have to add fractions where you're finding the perimeter, recuerden, if it has the same denominator, then you can add the fractions at the top and then keep the same denominator at the bottom. If you have different denominators, you must do the butterfly method to figure out the fraction. So that's just a review of decimals and of fractions. Now we're going to look at the formulas. Every shape has a formula. All you have to do is plug in the numbers and then get the answer. It's that easy. And all it is on these formulas is we are adding or we are multiplying. All right, so the triangle one right here, it says that the triangle formula is 1/2 times the base and times the height. The base is the bottom part. So if we make a triangle, the bottom part is your base and your height is how tall the triangle is. So we have to multiply 1/2 times base and times the height. In the rectangle is easy. You're just multiplying the width and the height, multiplying those two things. The trapezoid, this one we have to follow PEMDAS. In PEMDAS, if you see the parentheses, it says you need to add A, which is the top part, plus B, which is the bottom part, and then we multiply it by 1/2, and then we multiply it by the height. So all we're doing is adding and multiplying there. In the square, squares have all the sides should be the same. So you're multiplying one side by the other side, or what it says here, remember a squared? Let me put you the whiteboard so I can show you. Remember when we learned this, when we have the 2 at the top, it just means a times a. So for example, we have 2 squared. 2 squared means 2 times 2. If we have 3 squared, it just means 3 times 3. So remember, that's what square is. And if we have a square, each side is a, or each side is a number, and it's squared. So it's the same thing as multiplying this side by that side. So that's what that formula is saying. If you have your microphone on, please mute it. All right, so let's go back to our formulas. The parallelogram, that one's easy as well. We have the base times the height. Please put your microphone on mute. When I ask if you have questions, you can raise your hand. That way you can ask questions. All right, so now we're looking at the area of a triangle. So let's look at an example. So right here we have this shape right here. We want to find the area. So we need to just plug in the numbers into the formula. So that means we would have a 1/2 times the base. Our base is this number down here. This is our base down here, which is 8.7. So if we have 8.7, this right here is our base right there. And then we have our height. Our height is not 9.3 and it's not 6.2. Our height is the red part that says 5.4. So if we do this, let me show you on the whiteboard. So we have 1/2 times base times height. So that triangle that we had is we had our base and then we have our height. So this is our base and this is our height. So if we go back and we look at it, we have 8.7 was our base. So let's go back to the whiteboard.
Teacher,
we have 1 second.
sorry,
8.
I just got here right now, so
Yes,
I don't know what
this
we're
is being
doing.
recorded. You'll find this in YouTube after we're done. So whatever you'll be able to see it. Okay. So just
Okay.
mute your microphone for now. So we have our base
Okay.
8.7 and our height. If we look at our height was 5.4 centimeters. So let's go back. So we would have 8.7 centimeters. I'm sorry, we would have 5.4 centimeters. So 5.4 centimeters is our height. 5.4 centimeters. Okay, so we're putting this into the formula. That means we need to multiply 1/2. Our base was 8.7. And then our height was 5.4. That means we need to multiply all this stuff. So you can multiply this. You can use a calculator to double check your answers if you want to double check your answers. So let's do this. 8.7, and we're multiplying that by 5.4 and multiplying by that 1/2. That should give us about 23.49. You can double check your answer with the calculator. So this is all you're doing. Do you see? I identified my base and my height, and then I just put it into the formula and I found the answer. That is all we are doing on all these things. We're just finding the formulas and putting in the answers. All right, let's go back to the lesson. So here, if we have a rectangle, that one's the easiest. All you're doing is 8 times 3. So here would be 8 times 3, and you would put your answer. The trapezoid, that one you have to do a little bit more. So here, we have the trapezoid. We have to add A plus B. So 4 plus 9, if we add that up, 4 plus 9 is going to give us 13. And 13, we need to multiply by 1/2, or you can cut 13 in half. La mitad de 13, that would give us 6.5. And then we need to multiply by our height, which is 5. So 6.5, we multiply by 5, and that should give us 32.5. So that's the area of a trapezoid. Tenemos nuestros números aquí, and all we did is plug it into that formula. This one's pretty easy, the square. We have the square right here. Wait, Maya, we have the square. Remember, hold your answers, your questions, I'm sorry. Our square, we have 8 is one side, so we need to square that or multiply 8 by itself. 8 by 8, it's gonna give us 64. So that one's the area of a square. The area of a parallelogram, that one's also easy. All you have to multiply is the base, which is 7, and then our height. Be careful here. Our height's not going to be 5. The 5 is like this. But if we look at the height, la altura, it needs to be straight, would be 4. So we do 7 times 4. That's the area of the parallelograms. All right. Now you can ask me any questions. Maya, go ahead.
What about the shapes that like they don't have like a name, like the one that you show first, that it's like two shapes together? Do they have the
Are you talking about this one?
yeah?
Yes. Perimeter, you're just adding all the sides.
No, do they have the same as the triangle, the base and the height and the
No, remember, if you're figuring out a funky shape for area, you have to figure out the area of each shape. So right here, we have a rectangle at the top, and then we have a square at the bottom.
No, I'm asking the question if they have the same length, base, and height, like to do it. They have
This one is an example, so you have to see what the numbers are. You're just getting the numbers and putting it into the formula.
okay.
Okay? All right. And Mario, you have a question?
Teacher, I also have a question.
All right. Who has a question? Price?
I do, yeah.
Go ahead.
Teacher, I need some help with the catechism. It's hard for me to understand.
Okay, like I said, anything that deals with these things is just area and perimeter. For perimeter, está sumando todos los lados. for area, you're plugging in these formulas. So if you know how to add and you know how to multiply, you should be able to do the formulas. You just get the numbers from whatever the question is and you plug them in. I'm going to cover the Khan Academy assignments really quick in just 1 second. Any more questions
Okay, teacher.
about this stuff on the notes?
No, that's all. That's all I wanted to ask.
Okay. Anybody else? More questions about this lesson, the notes?
I have a question.
Who is this?
Nicole.
Nicole. Okay, go ahead, Nicole.
The slide that you showed Maya, can you please show me it?
This slide?
Yeah. And why do we have to multiply times
This is
2?
perimeter. We're not multiplying on the pink one. We're just adding.
In the blue one.
In the blue one, you're just adding all the sides. So for example, we have 8 and 5. Let me show you on the whiteboard. So we have this, right? We have 8 and we have 5. So we don't have this side, right? Or this side. Pero tenemos que asumir como esto es 8, this should be 8 too. And how this is 5, this should be 5 too. So if we add this up, it should be 8. Oh my God, my 8s are so terrible. Sorry, guys. 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5. Or you can do this. 8 plus 5. Oh my God, my 5. 8 plus 5, and then you multiply by 2 because you have 2 8s right here and you have 2 5s. That's what that drawing was saying, but those two are the same thing. They're going to give you the same answer. Makes sense, Nicole? All right. Any more questions on this so far? On to Khan Academy?
Yeah, I asked that question about Khan
That's
Academy.
the area.
Who's talking?
Isaac.
For
That's
me?
the area of the perimeter.
This is perimeter. Look at the title. Perimeter you're adding.
Okay.
And some perimeters that are like a square or a rectangle, you could multiply to make it faster, but it's just adding all the sides. Area, you have to multiply, but you have to follow the formulas.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so let's look at our e-bulletin then. The next part is you're supposed to watch a video on math antics. Math antics, it's a video on perimeter, so you can watch this to help you out. Let's look at the next part. The next part here is complete area and perimeter worksheet. So this worksheet, you can find it right here, right underneath the notes. The worksheet, you're supposed to print it. If you have your microphone on, please mute it. Whoever has their microphone on. So you can, on this worksheet, you can print it, you can write it in your notebook, paste it into your notebook, whatever it is fine, as long as by the time that I see you again in person, I'm able to see it in your notebook. So that worksheet, you can find it right here. You click on it and it's going to look like this. Each part is different. So for example, 1A says find the missing side length, the one that has the question mark. It says that my area is 16. So the area of a rectangle, if we go back and look at our formulas, it says that the length times the width is going to give you 16. So you have to think 2 times what's going to give me 16. That's going to give you your answer there, right there. Yes, Price?
That teacher, what was it? I was going to say that, so we have to print this.
You can print it if you like, or you can write it down in your notebook, however you like.
Teacher, I have my notebook here. I have my notebook, so I'm gonna print it.
That's
and
perfect.
And the day that I see you, I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, the day that I see
I'm just gonna print it.
That's
and
fine.
show you it, teacher.
That's fine. All right, so let's move on to the next part. So let's look at our e-bulletin. So after the worksheet, the last part is to complete Khan Academy. If you have completed Khan Academy, great for you. I'm happy. If you have not, you need to get to work today and tomorrow. I'm going to give you today and tomorrow to try to finish area and perimeter. So if we look at it, you might think, oh my God, there's so many assignments. But there's 10 videos. Those 10 videos go with the assignment. So there's 10 assignments, and each assignment has about 4 to 5, maybe to 7 questions. So if you can do 3 assignments a day, you should be able to finish those 10 assignments, right? See, 3, 6, 9, we can do this in about 3 to 4 days if you dedicate the time for it. So you need to make sure, one second, you need to make sure that you manage your time very well, so you make sure you complete these assignments, okay? Who has a question?
Me.
Alice, go ahead.
No, I don't have. In Khan Academy, how much assignments there are?
Lo
Yeah.
acabo de explicar, Alice. I told you you have to look at it. It has the due dates, and it's anything related to area and perimeter. There's 10 videos. The videos go with the assignment, so there's 10 assignments that you were supposed to have completed yesterday. If you did not complete it yesterday, then you need to do it today and tomorrow.
Yes, I completed it.
Teacher, I need to go to the bathroom.
I
I'll be
already
back.
finished them.
One
I'll be back.
person at a time.
I need to go to
Alice, are you done, Alice?
No.
Teacher, I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay, go to the bathroom.
I finished them already.
All that videos, teacher.
I'm sorry. Everybody please mute. Alice is talking. Okay, go ahead, Alice.
I don't understand very well that videos.
So I just explained it, que nomás tienes que poner la fórmula. Right now we're going to go over the Khan Academy assignments really quick, okay? It's just plugging in the formula. If you know how to plug in a formula, you know how to add, and you know how to multiply, then you should be able to do this, okay? So let's look at the Khan Academy assignments really quick.
Okay, teacher, I have a question.
Who has a question?
Me.
Who's me?
Teacher, I have a
Yes.
Angel.
Go ahead.
If someone doesn't have a printer,
I just told you, you can copy it down, draw the little pictures and put the answer.
or can it be like someone go to Fotori and print it there?
You can do whatever you like, as long as you get it into your notebook, okay? Okay. Any more questions? Isaac.
I already do it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to cover it really quick. Okay, let's try to cover this because we only have about 10 minutes left, okay? So we're going to look at the Khan Academy assignment. So this one says you're reviewing area of a triangle. Right here te da la fórmula. So all you have to do is plug in the number. So this is right here the example. So that means our base is our 4, and then our height is 5. So all we're doing is 4 times 5 is 20, and then we're multiplying by 1/2, or we're splitting up 20 in half, which gives you 10. So that's how you're doing, multiplying. Here, if you know how to multiply, you should be able to do area. Right here, they give you practice problems right here, so you can try and you can check your answer on here when you put your answer. So that one is the same thing as this one. See right here, our base is 6. We don't have the formula here, but you can go back and look at your formula right here. So we don't have it on here, but we can go back to our notes to look at the formula. Our formula here is 1/2 times the base. Our base is 6 and our height is 2. So that's area of a triangle. Let's look at the next part. So the next part here is area of a parallelogram. Right here, we go back, we look at our formula. Dice que la fórmula es base times height. So base times height. So we go back to Khan Academy right here. Our base is 7, which is at the top, is the same thing as the one at the bottom. Our base is 7 and our height is 5. 7 times 5, 35. That easy. You just do it like that. You have to follow the formula. This one, okay, this one says area of composite shapes. We have 3 shapes right here. We look at that, we have a triangle on the left side. In the middle, we have a square. And on the other side, we have another triangle. So that means we need to find the area of each shape. Again, how do we find the area? We have our handy dandy area formula right here. So we have to do it for each shape. So the one for the square in the middle is a squared. We have to multiply that 2 times the 2. Wait 1 second. So this is the composite shape. So here we have the shape in the middle is 2 times 2 would be 4. And then we have to figure out the area of this triangle. Or we can also do this. If you look at this, we have a square in the middle, and then we have a triangle and another triangle. Let's say if I put this triangle over here, what kind of shape would it give me right here? Anybody know? What kind of shape would it give me? Yes, Price?
So you draw 2 circles or 2 squares.
No, I'm drawing the shape you just saw, and then had a triangle here and a triangle here. And I said,
It would have.
what would I have here if I put the triangle right here? What kind of shape does it give me?
A square.
Exactly. So now we have 2 squares right there. So if we
Teacher,
have, yes.
After like when this finishes, I'm gonna go to YouTube and watch the parts I wasn't in.
Yes, that's correct. So here we would find the area of 2 squares. We can find the area of 2 squares. Our formula says that we need to multiply. If we have 2 times 2, then that's going to give us 4. And so if one square is 4 and the other square is 4, we just add it up. So in composite, if we look at composite shapes, we're just adding areas up of each shape. All right, let's look at the next one. Area of a trapezoid. Again, you go back to your formulas. You look at trapezoid. It's right here. 1/2 times A plus B times the height. So you just plug in that formula. And that's trapezoid. Now this one right here deals with circles. Everybody remember pi day. This is related to pi day. Radius, diameter, and circumference. In pi, you need to review this. Right here, it tells you that the radius is that part of a circle. And then it shows you the diameter of a circle. It shows you that 2 radiuses gives you 1 diameter. Or 2r is d, which 2r is 2 radius, which gives you d, diameter. And then we look at circumference. Circumference, it's like the perimeter of a square, the outside of a circle. So if we look at that, we can look, and the circumference right there is pi times d. Remember, pi is 3.14, so that means 3.14 times 10, because 10 is our diameter in this example right here. So if we keep going, all of these are, you can check the answers right here, and it'll explain if you got it right or wrong. It'll explain on here. So that one deals with area and anything related to a circle. So this one right here is radius and diameter. So if it says that our diameter is 4 units long, that means half of it needs to be the radius to figure out what the radius is. So half of 4 gives us 2. So that would give us our radius for 2. And this one right here is finding the area of a circle. Again, you plug in the formula. You must look at the review from Khan Academy when it talks about circles to be able to do this one. And then we have shaded areas. So these shaded areas, it's like the one that we did for composite shape. So we need to find the area of each shape. Here we can see that there is a circle. So we have to find the area of a circle. And then we have a rectangle. We have to find the area of a rectangle. Once we find the area of both, we need to subtract. Once we subtract, that will give us our answers for shaded areas. Nets of a polyhedra. This right here, it's like if it's a flat shape and then we build it back together, it's going to make one of these shapes. So if we look at this is not going to give us a basketball. It's not going to give us a cube or a prism. It's going to give us a pyramid when we put it back together. So this covers the last part, which is surface area. Surface area means that we need to look at the area of all the sides of this shape. So we already know how to solve area, right? Right here we have a square. So we find the area of the square, and then we multiply by however many sides there are to figure out the surface area of this problem. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Isaac.
I didn't really understand
What part?
the part where you showed the present
That one. I
in
just
Khan
told you.
Academy. Yeah, I don't understand it really much. So you want
I
me
just
to?
told you, you have to find the area. Tienes que encontrar el área de ese square. So we have 20 times 20. That would give us 400. So how many sides do we have? We have to find all the area of all of these sides of that present. So if once we find one side, we can multiply by however many sides we have. So here is applying the area of a square because we have a square. So we have the area of the square and we multiply by however many sides there are of that present. Okay, Price?
Okay.
All right. Any more questions? We have 3 minutes left before we say goodbye. All right, so if you have not finished Khan Academy, you have today and tomorrow to finish it, then you should be started on the next week's work, which is metric systems. That, I have sent a video of where you need to look for those assignments. So in those assignments, if you look at this is the e-bulletin for this week, we're looking at the metric system. You have to watch a video and then you have Khan Academy assignments. I have already uploaded the Khan Academy assignments. You're gonna see 10 assignments. In reality, there's just 5. 5 son videos y los otros 5 son assignments. So make sure you complete that. Again, you find your notes in metric system notes. These are the notes right here. We have the Math Antics video, and then in Khan Academy, these are it. Remember, there's 10, 5 videos, and there's 5 assignments. In about 2 days, I'm gonna send a message again with a link for another Zoom video like this. And that way you can ask questions about the metric system. So write down your questions about the metric system, look at the notes, look at the Khan Academy, try it out. And if you have questions, in about 2 days, we'll meet again like this, okay? All right, again, make sure if you haven't finished your exam, do your exam, do area and perimeter stuff, and then do the metric system, okay?
Teacher.
One second, Bryce.
Okay.
Maya, yes, go ahead. Can you unmute your...
Teacher, I have a question.
Go ahead.
If I am adding a fraction, right? And I put, they give the answer gave me 7.948, 948, right? If I don't put 48, it's gonna be wrong.
I'm not sure. It depends. On Khan Academy, when you put that, make sure you look at review answer or get a hint if that can help you, because I'm not sure what it's asking you for.
No, in the exam, it told me that.
Teacher.
Okay, I'm not sure. We only have 1 minute left, guys, before this ends.
Okay.
Teacher,
I finished the exam.
If you finish the exam, then you shouldn't worry about anything else but the
teacher,
upcoming assignments.
I did 18 out of my 20 of the exam.
That's fine, guys. I already put in your grades. Don't worry if you've taken it, then great.
I just wanted to say thank you for helping. So I'll see you
Bro,
Okay,
Bye,
I'll see you
teacher.
soon, guys. All right.
we have to
Bye,
talk. Bro.
teacher.
Bye.
Bye.